I'm not a believer in Jalen Hurts. I'm sorry. He looks cool. He looks the part. Looks good in a jersey. Whatever that's worth. He's probably got the best look out of all quarterbacks in a jersey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at me.
Bench Mob, they're speaking the facts that you wanna hear. They rep a jersey, the vision is clear. Diamonds glisten like a chandelier. You know what I'm here for, like Marshawn Lynch. At clutch time, we do not flinch. Real brothers, we do not switch. Hit home runs with the right pitch. Who run the city? What to do when they hating on you? I feel like Kobe 2010. Taking an L, all I need is a win. Business is business, you know how they go. They clear the seats, now it's time to grow. Tune in now, gotta be in the know. Showtime, bitch, my about to blow.
I ain't seen some now. But you really, I was trying to tell you. Bench Mob Podcast. What's up, bro?
Yeah, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Bench Mob Ent. We are back. Good one coming to y'all. Before we even start, before we do the introductions, this is your first time being here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Subscribe. Make sure you like, share this, tell any and everybody about it. Rate us 5 stars on all streaming platforms: Apple, Anchor, Google Podcasts. We're everywhere. Can't miss us. Miles, Smooth Operator Davenport, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. I'm ready to get this started.
And Greg,
Kyler Murray. Jeez.
Greg, Mr. Hot Takes, the big mother sends me. How you doing tonight?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. I'm feeling real good right now.
God started off right there. You mentioned Kyler Murray. It wasn't on the docket, but the man got paid. And you too on the show did predict that this man would get paid by Arizona. And did he get paid? Thoughts on that contract? 5 years, what was it? 230, 163 guaranteed, $46.1 million per year, making him the second highest paid quarterback annually in the NFL. Overpay? Market price?
Overpay. You think it's market price?
I think he was paid just right. Yeah, what is that team without him? What's the alternative option? And Deshaun Watson's contract threw off the market, so you got to pay him somewhere in the neighborhood. You just have to. It was his turn. Dak was overpaid. That was an overpay, but by my standards, I don't think he's that good. But if I'm being honest, Dak got paid the right way too. Like, it was just his turn, and that was the market. Kirk Cousins got paid 30 M's a year, and Kyler Murray not worth at least $10 million more annually. Hell yeah, he is. He got paid just right. Kirk Cousins makes $30 million to do something in the world. To do something. Yeah, Kyler got the right amount of money.
I don't know about 46 a year. I don't know about that.
He's so talented. I don't know that. Again, what's the alternative option? Like, if you don't give him that money, someone else would. You know, I think the Giants would open him checkbook for that guy in a heartbeat, give him that bread. All right, Joe Shane and them dudes. Like, there are teams that would do that. Like, he would get the money. The Jets would too when they realized Zach Wilson's just good for having sex with moms.
No, I mean, Kyler, like you said, they had no choice but to pay him. Because it's like, what? You can't go back to Josh Rosen. Like, you took this guy to be your franchise guy, and he's unhappy with what he's getting paid right now. So, but to be the second highest, I don't know. It's a tough thing to deal with, especially now. I mean, it's a good thing for one quarterback who hasn't signed his deal yet. Like, Lamar is definitely going to make more than what Kyler Murray's getting. Because Kyler Murray hasn't done as much as he's done in his career. Like, Kyler Murray's good, but MVP good, playoff good? No, not yet. So we gotta wait on that.
He's MVP good.
He's MVP good?
He won MVP. Yeah. Last year, I think, was it last year that he was like through like 9 weeks, he was like the MVP leader because the Cardinals were like 9-1 or something ridiculous. He was won MVP last year.
Mr. November, we got it.
Oh boy, here we go. Whatever. You know how many quarterbacks are Mr. No Months? None of their months are good. You know how many quarterbacks just are like that?
All right, well, we're going to really see how good he is without DeAndre Hopkins for the first 5 games. So
First 6 games.
6 games. Yeah, even longer.
They'll be
He'll be all right.
They'll be.
Hey, I want to throw this stat out there too. Speaking of Mr. November and second half and whatnot, the Cardinals under Cliff Kingsbury, which it could be on him, it could be Kyler, it could be in multiple things. They're 17-45 after Game 7 of the season. The first 7 games of the season, they've been 42-20-1. So after Game 7, they fall right off a cliff. You're starting off the season with no D-Hop. This might be the reverse this year.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, he's got his money, but is that team good enough to win? Good enough to make the playoffs? Because last year, they looked like they'd be the number 1 seed in the NFC. And, I mean, he did get hurt, but you still got to be able to make these plays. And then you get to the playoffs, and that showing was just terrible. So that's the last time we saw him on the field. So it doesn't leave a good taste in your mouth, but we'll see.
But you guys that good at that position just are too rare, so you have to pay him what he's asking for. Just kind of the way it works. The quarterbacks have all the leverage. There's not enough good quarterbacks out there to be like, oh, no, we can go get someone else. We're going to get.
Right. Imagine what Michael Vick would be getting paid right now.
Who?
Imagine what Michael Vick would get paid right now.
Oh, boy. He get good bread too. I'm sure you know he played in the wrong era, and his numbers would be way better than they were back then because of the way they play the game now. He looks a lot better now.
Over the next 5 years of that contract, what would make the contract less of a overpay in your mind? We put up the poll. Is it playoff runs? Does he have to bring a Super Bowl to Arizona? What would make this justify this contract for Kyler Murray?
It's a playoff mandate at this point. Like, if you're missing the playoffs at this point, then you're not getting a return on your investment because you're paying him to be the leader of your team, one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. And what do those quarterbacks do? They get you to the playoffs and they put you in a position to make a run at the Super Bowl. So I don't know if he can do that. Not yet. Maybe at some point, but I mean, he made the right decision playing football. That's for sure.
Cashed in. I don't know that I have like obviously make the playoffs, be a good football team, and make a run to the Super Bowl at some point in your time within this contract. But I just think they had to pay him what they had to pay him. They did what they had to do. If I'm a Cardinals, guess you know what? Everyone can talk about, overpaid, this, that. You know who's not saying that? Cardinals fans. Cardinals fans were going through Josh Rosen and whoever the hell else they had playing quarterback before that. We don't even know. So Carson Palmer, like he was decent and whatever, but he was okay. It was cool. It was cute. But now he's a better quarterback coach than he is quarterback. But, or is that his brother? See, I don't even know. This might be his brother, Jordan. Regardless, I just feel like they had to do it. They did what they had to do. Like, I don't know that there was another option. And we all knew that when he said he was going to hold out, that he was going to get paid. That's just the way it works with quarterbacks. They have a lot of leverage, They're like NBA superstars in the NFL. So you can't do nothing without them.
Staying in the NFC West, Greg, give me your predictions in the NFC West. What's the record for Cardinals, 49ers, Seahawks, and Rams?
The Seahawks will be the worst team in the division. They'll maybe win 5 games, 5 or 6. They'll be middle and they'll be really bad. I think that's just goes without saying. And you start over there. The Niners are going to be interesting because Garoppolo will be gone. I think that matters a lot more than people think. Give it credit for mattering. 1-star Jimmy was important to that team, and so I don't know how that thing goes. I hope Trey Lance is great. I think that they will be good just by default because they have such a good scheme. So I say they're going to win at least 11 games, the 49ers, just because, the running game is so great, right? Trey Lance just not mess up. Just don't mess up. It'll be baby-proof for him year 1. He'll make plays. He's a talented guy. And then what? We got the Rams in this division. The Rams will probably win around, I'd say around 10, 11 games as well. They may be a bit of a championship date and layover in days. They'll struggle a little bit losing guys like Von Miller. That matters. But they added Van Jefferson, so I think they'll be real talented. Or not Van Jefferson. What's his name?
Allen Robinson.
Allen Robinson. Yeah, Allen Robinson. But yeah, they added Allen Robinson, so I think that's really important there too. So I think they'll be better because of it. And then you've got the last team in the division that I didn't cover. What is the
Cardinals?
The Cardinals, of course. So I think that team wins about. There's gonna be three double-digit win teams in that division. I think that they could win 10 games too. I think they can win 10 games too in that division, and it'll be a real tight one. So it'll be a 3-team race. I think everybody will kind of admit that, right? I think it's pretty simple. But if I had to pick a winner for the division, I'd pick the Niners. I'll pick the Niners. But I think they'll win 10 games. The Cardinals will win 10 games. They will hold it down while DeAndre Hopkins is gone. They'll hold it down. They'll run the ball a bit more. Rondell Moore get more involved. They got Ertz. He'll get more involved. They'll figure out ways to be productive.
Miles, NFC West predictions.
I mean, of course, the Seahawks are going to be last. I mean, they haven't done anything to improve. They're clearly not trying to improve because they got Drew Lock at quarterback. I'm going to say like 4 wins. And it makes me so happy that they suck now because Jamal Adams wanted to be on a winning team. So here you go. You get to be in Seattle with your coins. The third best team in that division, I'm going to say the Cardinals just because I think there's going to be a fall off from last year. They're going to have a tough start this year. I mean, 5 games without D-Hop. I mean, Hollywood Brown is back with his old running mate from Oklahoma, but he's not D-Hop. So that's a big weapon you're missing on the field. And let's see. San Fran, I think that's the wild card in this division. Like they could be 6-11, or they could be 11-6, just because it depends on how far along Trey Lance is in year 2. And I know in this offense, they rely on the run game a lot. So I wonder if they add him into that package, kind of like a Jalen Hurts type of role where he can run it a little bit, he can pass it a little bit, but you'll keep him from making those mistakes because in a sense, he is still a rookie because he didn't get a chance to really play besides a couple games where he filled in for Jimmy Garoppolo. And then, I mean, I got the Rams winning the division. I mean, I don't think they got worse. The offense got better.
Defense got worse.
Okay, they still got Aaron Donald. That's a lot better than 90% of the teams in the NFL. So
true. I would say this too. Trey Lance will be better than Jalen Hurts like right away. That's my prediction on that. Trey Lance is going to be better than. I don't think Jalen Hurts is that good. I think he's vastly overrated. I don't understand why people talk about him the way they do. And I want him to be good. He's black, but I don't really see it. I'm sorry. I don't think he's that good. I really don't think he's that good. I don't think Jalen Hurts is better than Daniel Jones. I'll be honest with you.
Just wait for this year.
What? Like, what's he going to do this year?
There's no other choice but to be good this year.
What other choice? There's a lot of choice. He could be terrible. He could just be bad and be done. Philly will let him know about it too. You know how that's going to go. They'll be throwing batteries at that guy by week 7. I hope he does well. I mean, I have no reason to root against him. Again, he's black, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to expect there. I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's that accurate. I think he's easily flustered with good coverage and mixed coverages. The Giants had a game where we picked him off 4 times with a great O-line, by the way. He had time. He wasn't even under pressure. It's just, I don't know. I don't really believe. I'm not a believer in Jalen Hurts. I'm sorry. He looks cool. He looks the part. Looks good in a jersey. Whatever that's worth. He's probably got the best look out of all quarterbacks in a jersey.
Perfect transition. Plays on the hot seat going into the next season in the NFL. Jalen Hurts comes up in conversation. Ezekiel Elliott, Tua, Daniel Jones, Jeff Okudah, Jalen Reagor, Ryan Tannehill. Who are some of the names that comes to mind for you guys in regards of players on the hot seat next season?
I mean, Baker has got to be on the hot seat. He just got traded from the team that just took him number 1 4 years ago. So clearly, he's running out of options. So if he can't beat out Sam in Carolina in training camp, then yeah, it's gonna be pretty bad for him. And the only good thing that we get out of this is we don't have to see those commercials anymore, because he didn't deserve those anyway. He was terrible, and they kept showing him every week. Some were funny, I'll admit, but you got to leave those to Mahomes, guys who win games. So Baker for sure, Zeke definitely, because I think even if he has a decent year, he's gone because his salary hit is just too much. Like, you don't pay running backs as much as you do Ezekiel Elliott. And I mean, the last couple of years, he hasn't done enough. And Tony Pollard is pretty good too. So he's given them another reason to, cut bait.
I think Baker is going to play really well. To your point, I think he's going to play really well. He was hurt last year. We don't seem to be giving him the benefit of the doubt. It's very weird. I don't really understand why. Like, he didn't just turn ass. That didn't just happen. Like, he got hurt. He was playing injured. That was a real thing. So I think he'll be better next year.
Who's ass for that?
He was? What? How? Wait, was he? What did I miss? I thought he struggled in big games, that you could say that, but to say he was ass, that seems crazy. He had the rookie record for most touchdowns in rookie season. The next year, I think they had a playoff berth.
It's been down since then.
I thought they had a playoff berth the next year. They had a playoff berth the next year. They went to the playoffs literally the next year. And then after that, things went downhill. I thought year 3 was when you saw the drop off, and that was the injury. But I thought year 2 was solid. And I thought even the first game of the season this past year, he played really well against the Chiefs, right? He had a 4-touchdown game. He threw a critical pick at the end of the game. That, to my big game point, he struggles a little bit, but all in all, I thought he was pretty damn good. I thought he's a guy you can start, and you can be okay, and he can be your quarterback for a while, and you'll win games. You'll win games. Like, you can win games with Baker Mayfield as your quarterback. I don't understand. Like, I'm not riding for that. Look, I can't go for the whole he's just not good. Like, again, Kirk Cousins is someone's quarterback out there. I'm not doing this. Like, we're not playing this game. So I can't do it. But yeah, I think he'll be decent. And he's beating out Sam. Sam's done. It's over. When they got him, it was over. It was done for him. But yeah, I think that, that's obviously a name. And then Daniel Jones' name is a big one in New York. A lot of questions that have to be answered. And I think that he's definitely he's in the hottest of seats. Yeah, I know y'all hear the rumors about them trading for Jimmy Garoppolo, porn star Jimmy. I don't know that it's realistic. I don't think it's going to happen. But the fact that you're even here having those conversations is tell you how hot the seat is. It's crazy. It's crazy. So we'll see. I think he'll play better, but most people are skeptical about it. But most people don't know what the hell they're talking about. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think he'll play better football this year, and he'll make it interesting. We'll make it interesting at that. And then, I mean, all the other names you named are obviously, they're Jeff Okudah being on the hot seat is nuts. I know he struggled, but I'm gonna be honest with you on the podcast. I don't give a damn about Detroit football, so I don't really care that he's on the hot seat. I don't really care, but I know it's funny. Hearing that he struggled. Obviously, I think it's a new coach since he's been drafted. It wasn't the same guy. Campbell didn't draft him, right?
So the thing with Jeff Okudah, where people are putting him on the hot seat, is he got hurt last year, but they said from jump he was drafted too high, number 3 overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where people are looking at him like, yo, we need some type of production from you when this season. Like, all right, you was out, he had a core injury and he had the Achilles tear. All right, cool. Now that you're back healthy, number 3, yeah.
Yeah, I get it. High expectations. He's suffering from Daniel Jones syndrome. Take a guy real high, get out these crazy expectations, and you gotta live up to it, right? He's suffering from RJ Barrett syndrome. That's take a guy too high, You know, you got all the expectations. You know, it's
He's
realistic.
actually produced, though.
Huh?
Daniel Jones. I mean, hold up, Greg. Do you think anyone's gonna take a Josh Allen like leap this year, or are we're doing this again? Or,
We never know. He could. You never know. I am not subscribing to this idea that Daniel Jones is ass. I can't do it. I hear all types of crazy stuff about Daniel Jones. Oh, he can't be better than Jameis Winston. He can't be better. Like the names, the stuff I'm hearing is just crazy. Like it shows me that people aren't watching the Giants games. They just look at the stat sheet after the fact and they tell you he sucks. And that's fine. But I'm telling you, he's really not bad. The fumbles are horrible. I get it. But when you have Nate Solder literally tripping over himself and letting guys run right past him like a turnstile, good luck. You don't fumble the ball when these guys hitting you full speed. Any of them would. Can you imagine Kyle Murray getting hit like that? He'd be going to play baseball real quick if he could walk out of here alive. So I don't know. Like, the point is, and I've said this a million times in this podcast, point is, I think he's going to have a much better season. This is surprising people. They got Evan Neal, they got Andrew Thomas on the sides. As long as the O-line's all right and these guys stay healthy, it'll be pretty nice to watch. I think it'll be fun to watch. I don't know, they won't be good, but that's a whole different conversation. It's a whole different conversation.
he could surprise himself. I don't know if he's going to surprise us, though.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever. Everyone rooting for that guy to fall. It's crazy. Everyone rooting for him to fail. Yeah. He's in the hottest seat in the NFL. Daniel Jones is in the hottest seat in the NFL. I don't think anyone has a hotter seat than Daniel Jones. Playing in New York, new ownership, new group, not new ownership, but new management group. You know, he has the hottest seat in the NFL. It's crazy. So, you know, and everybody wants to see him go fail. But it's all right.
We already mentioned Jalen Hurts, another Jalen in Philadelphia, Jalen Reagor. Do y'all think it's just he got to be on a different team, or is he really just not that good?
He's not good.
He's not good. He's out for overdraft. And they just got to get him off the team because it looks so much worse when they could have had a generational receiver in Justin Jefferson, who went like the next pick. So, and he's produced. Reagor, I mean, they could have honestly beat the Giants one of those games if he just catches one of those passes, which were good passes. It was just funny that he dropped both passes.
I thought, was the second game even close? I think we're not gonna do is sit here and blame Jalen Reagor for Jalen Hurts throwing 4 interceptions in the football game. That's what we're not gonna do.
Won in spite of that, though.
Really, I don't remember that game being that close. How about what we won by? Like it didn't. The game never felt close. I'm not gonna lie. Like it always felt like we were gonna win the game, and there weren't many games like that last year. But the Eagles game, that at MetLife felt like we were never gonna lose that game. Like the Eagles were. Jalen Hurts was horrific. We want to have to come to the realization that he's just not good. Like he's not good. He's not good, bro. What did I miss anything? Are the numbers better than I think they are for Jalen Hurts? Both Jalen.
Can we compare the two, Daniel Jones and Jalen Hurts?
I have no problem doing so. All you're gonna do is throw the damn fumbles in my face, and that's fine. But I'll tell you this right now: Daniel Jones is a better passer of the football, throws a way better ball, and is way more accurate than Jalen Hurts is. And I hate to push that stereotype because, I'm saying the white QB better than the black QB at throwing the football. Similar to how our good friend Clarence Thomas did last week. But I can't subscribe to that. Jalen Hurts he's hurt. I don't like it.
Looking at the stats, so far in the career, 16 touchdowns. Oh, this is going off of last season.
Who had 16 last year?
Jalen Hurts had 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, sacked 26 times, threw for 3,144 yards.
He only threw 16 touchdowns with that offensive line. And a great player in Devonta Smith. And we're talking about him. And like he's some good quarterback. We're so inconsistent with what we criticize guys. It's so unfair. Like, what? How is he ducking all the criticism? He plays in Philly. I'm telling you, they'll be throwing all types of weird. They'll be throwing sandals and batteries and all types of homemade appliances at him next year if he comes out and plays the same way. With the new guy they just got, Brown.
I think the other thing, too, where people was giving him some love, last season he had 10 rushing touchdowns, 784 yards rushing.
That's awesome.
And 10 touchdowns.
On the ground. Okay, that's great.
So in total, he had produced 26 touchdowns last year. So I guess they're looking at potential.
That's BS. I'm keeping it buck with y'all. It's BS. Y'all can't hold throwing the football over Lamar Jackson's head the way I'll do, and then give Jalen Hurts a pass because he can accumulate some yards on the ground. Whatever. Like, whatever, bro.
Hey, I'm not holding that over Lamar's head. I'm taking.
What we know Clarence Thomas third here is. So that's why.
Daniel Jones did have a better completion percentage last year, 64.3%, while Jalen Hurts had 61.3% completion.
That goes without saying. I mean, anybody going to throw a ball more accurately than Jalen Hurts. I could throw a ball more accurately than Jalen Hurts. I don't like the way, I'm not impressed by him, bro. He doesn't scare me. I think as long as he's the Eagles quarterback, everybody else in the division is going to breathe nice and easy. He doesn't worry me. Maybe this comes back to bite me, but I just don't see it. He might get better and, out of nowhere become a good passer, but, this ain't Oklahoma anymore.
Danny Dimes fumbled it 19 times his rookie year. Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, throw the fumbles in my face. That's fine. I told you that. You're not going to come with nothing new.
I'm just looking at the stats right now.
It was 19 fumbles. It was a lot of goddamn fumbles. It was bad. But the touchdowns, he had 24. Has Hurts ever thrown that many touchdowns at any point?
He's been in the league for 2 years.
I don't give a damn. He's the best thing since sliced bread.
Hold up. You're saying he peaked his rookie year?
Who did? I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying he can get back to that. He's going to get back to that. There's been a lot of reasons why he has not thrown 24 touchdowns, and it's not because of his bad play. It's not like just, Daniel Jones hasn't been good. No, it's been terrible offensive line, terrible coaching. Could you imagine what Jalen Hurts would look like with Jason Garrett? Oh, my gosh. It'd be a nightmare. We're not talking about another Dak here. We're not talking about that. It's not happening that way. The moral of the story is Daniel Jones is better than Jalen Hurts, and most people don't know.
You're right. And if you fight any harder, you'll get a signed jersey from him, too. Daniel Jones.
Top free agents left out there in the NFL. Throw some names out there. See where y'all think they end up. Odell Beckham Jr. still out there. I think he could fit pretty much on any team. Packers, Ravens. Lamar needed some weapons. Colts. Matt Ryan going to need another weapon or two. Where y'all think Odell ends up at?
I don't know. I don't really see him leaving that area. Like, I feel like eventually he's going to come back to LA. And I mean, he could go to the Chargers, but I'm sure he wants to stick with the Rams, depending on what they're willing to pay. And he got hurt in the Super Bowl. So I don't know many teams who are willing to just shell out a bag for a guy who's coming back in like week 13, week 14. So he's going to have to take less money and go somewhere and prove that he's got something left and that he can stay healthy for that period of time going into next year. And I mean, he's familiar with Matthew Stafford, so I would say he'd stick with him.
I'm saying he stays, and I think he has a lot left in the tank. It's just a matter of, I think, health now. Can you be healthy?
He's like AD.
I think Odell is better than AD, but that's another discussion.
I think that's fair. I can go for that.
Where do you think Odell stays in LA? He's a Ram.
Yeah, I think he's sticking in LA too. I think he'll be in LA for sure. I don't see where else he goes if it makes any other sense, right? Like, he loves LA. He loves LA. Let's be honest. He's not leaving there.
Julio Jones is still out there. Where y'all think Julio goes? Does he go back and reunite with Matt Ryan over in Indiana?
He could. But he could go to the Chiefs or something like that. That would be fun to see him go there and make some plays, because they do have an opening spot for a wide receiver one. And I think if he could just stay healthy, relatively healthy, he could show what, I mean, we've seen his whole career. Like, last year was just tough. Like, one, you're playing in Tennessee. Nobody wants to be in Tennessee. Nobody wants to catch passes from Ryan Tannehill. Like, even A.J. Brown bolted Tennessee for that. So Jalen Hurts, albeit. So I think he should go to the Chiefs, but I could see him, going where he's familiar. And I mean, the Colts, they have a good team right now. They just need the quarterback. And maybe if you add another weapon, then, we see this thing get on a roll here.
Yeah, I don't even. I guess the question for me is what he has left in the tank. Like, I just don't know what he has left, to give. When he's on the field, he's still pretty good, but is he the same kind of player? I'm not sure. So, I mean, yeah, the Chiefs are interesting. I think, the Cardinals are interesting. For the first few weeks, they're not going to be without their guy D-Hop. Maybe they give him a tryout, give him a chance. I know I'm talking about him like he's done, but it just, the level of play is falling off. I mean, and the injuries, when you start getting injured more often as you get older, kind of know what that means, writing's on the wall. And football's a hard sport to stay healthy in to begin with. So I guess he can go on to any contending football team that needs a wide receiver, like the Chiefs, like the Cardinals, right? Like the Colts. And it'd be interesting, but I think the Colts are better off just throwing the ball to Michael Pittman all day instead of throwing it to Julio. So I don't know. I think for me, it's about what he does when he gets to wherever he goes. But I think he'll find a home somewhere because just out of respect, you're going to give that guy a chance. He gave Josh Gordon a million chances. He was washed up.
Yeah, I think any chance with any of the wide receivers that's left out there, like Will Fuller, anybody, do Baltimore sign anybody for another weapon for Lamar?
I don't see it. I think they're going to roll with the young guys. And, I mean, Mark Andrews is really like the wide receiver one on that team. Like, he looks at him more than anybody else. That's who he's comfortable with. So, I don't know. I think this is who he's got. And I don't know. In this offense, I don't know if you really need a big-time receiver. Just because Lamar has the ball in his hands so much, it's really a quick action passing offense. So,
The thing is, I don't know if y'all saw it, but the former Raven, they had a little Twitter back and forth. How no wide receiver wants to play with Lamar. Do you think there's any validity to that?
No, I don't think so. I just think the Ravens did a bad job getting the wide receivers around them that can make plays, and I think part of it's drafting. But I think Rashad Bateman's having a big year. He's really good. I think he'll be good for them. But no, I don't put any stock in that. That's he's just trolling, that guy. I didn't even know who the hell he was up until that whole thing happened. Next thing you know, after that thing happened, he's on Colin Cowherd doing a guest appearance. And he's, so it's clearly about a 5 minutes of fame type of thing for that guy. And he got it, mission accomplished. But Lamar should never even responded. That was the real blunder, in my opinion. But I get it. Everyone's saying you can't pass the ball. You got black folk pushing that narrative out here. Like, I get it. He had enough. He heard Miles, and he had enough. I guess Powell just caught the straight bullet.
Last name out there. It's a bunch of offensive linemen out there that we go into, but no point in even going into that. Landon Collins is still out there. Only, 28, 29. You see Landon Collins getting picked up by any team. And Landon Collins he plays safety, but he's of that Jamal Adams, really a linebacker era.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say he could play that like hybrid linebacker role, which, I mean, he's not fast enough to cover anybody in the secondary. So he's not going to be a safety anymore. But you could have him like play that Keanu Neal, who else? Jamal Adams type of role and see what you got left. Because, I mean, he might have 2-3 years left, but it's not much left in that tank. Just be glad the Giants didn't pay him what the football team did, because they'd be in deep, what.
As bad as that regime was, they still knew he wasn't that good. So I think it goes without saying. I don't know where he signs, but I don't think he makes a big impact wherever he goes. Like, he's just not that good in coverage. He's never been good in coverage, ever, even at his best. In his best years, when he had some interceptions. They were interceptions off his own, just being in the right area, right place, right time. Not because he was tracking some guy down and on some ball hawk stuff. So I don't know where he goes, but whoever needs another blitz boy, I guess we'll pick him up. Sheesh. Then the Jets like guys like that, right?
Hell no. But if he wants to come home,
he ain't going back. He ain't. Yeah, right. It's new. We're under new regime. These guys are a little smarter. So
I know y'all about to wear the Bills jerseys this year. Saw that.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope we play like them too.
Was it a memo that went out like, why is every team doing retro jerseys, throwback jerseys? Like every team, new helmets. You got the Bengals looking like they got gel uniforms on. Like,
yeah, it's crazy. They all did a bid. Every player on Gels did the jail. Hey. The Bengals did a bid.
They switched the jersey too late. If this was the Marvin Lewis era, that would have worked perfectly.
You got to bring Vontaze Burfict back for those jerseys.
Facts. You might just send him once to his house. Like, yo.
Like Man Jones, too. Get him out that seat with Marshall.
Free agency. Flipping it to the NBA. James Harden took a pay cut. 2 years, $68.6 million. According to James, it was because he wants to win a championship and told Daryl Morey, just give me whatever money is left and go sign everybody else. Do we have any belief that James Harden took a pay cut, or was it more of, yo, we're not giving you the max?
I think he played so bad this year that they weren't going to give him what he wanted. So in order to save face, he changed the narrative and like, oh, I got to, I'm going to take less money. I'm going to help the team out. We can sign PJ. We can bring other guys in and make it a more positive tone. But I mean, we still didn't forget that you were ass last year. Once you got to Philly, you had a couple good games. And that was when people were throwing out Kobe and Shaq. And then all of a sudden, once that was said, it's almost like they took the battery out your back because it just fell off. So I don't know. He said he wasn't right all year. We'll see how accurate that was this year. I mean, one, he has to lose some weight because, I mean, at some point, you can't be that big forever. So we'll see what happens.
James Harden somewhere eating a chicken wing telling you I beg to differ. You say that. I don't know, man. I don't think they wanted to pay him the max. Obviously, it wasn't warranted. I think maybe there was a little bit of PR posturing, telling everybody, oh yeah, he took less money, to do right by the team. I've never associated James Harden being the selfless type in terms of winning, and that's all that ever mattered. Pretty sure stats mattered more than winning at some point in that guy's career. That's what he did. He accumulated stats for a large part of his career. And winning be damned. They won games in Houston. I mean, sure, but the winning the big game never seemed to matter. And I'll be honest with you. Look, even if James Harden's going to go out there and tell everybody that it was about winning and that's why he took less money, PJ Tucker and Daniel House doesn't exactly scream championship. I'm sorry. Like, it isn't. Is that going to solve your problems when you face Giannis or you face whoever, in Miami and the Celtics and whatever Brooklyn might look like next year? I don't know. Like, because they could just stay the same. Like, does that really solve your problems? Like, it doesn't solve any of your issues. So, again, I think it's a whole lot of posturing. He was horrible last year, and I don't think we're ever going to see the same James Harden we saw in Houston ever again. That's behind him. So I don't know what this new version of him is going to look like, where he reinvents himself. Is it a guy who gets triple doubles often and just kind of sets the table and plays pure point guard and passes more than he shoots? Maybe. I don't know. But that doesn't win you a championship because that's not a real second superstar. Now, superstar now, is it? That's not what you brought him there to be. So,
He said this was to win a championship. In the East, is Philly better than any of these teams? Milwaukee Bucks, as currently constructed, Milwaukee Bucks.
No. No.
Celtics.
No.
Nope.
Miami Heat.
Nope.
Nope.
And as currently constructed,
Nope.
the Brooklyn Nets.
Nope. Not better than Brooklyn. If Brooklyn stayed pat, if Brooklyn keeps those two guys and they have that team they just built now, no way. Brooklyn would beat them in a 7-game series.
So currently constructed, based off what we just said, we're thinking that they're going to be anywhere from a 5th to a 6th, 7th seed. So there is no championship title or contention even.
No. Last year, their problem was they were slow. They were really slow, and they were terrible guarding in transition. And you went out and signed PJ Tucker, who's like 40, and you signed Daniel House. And I just don't – like, that doesn't even matter. Okay, cool, Daniel House, whatever. Another guy who makes threes in the corner. That was never really your issue. You had some shooters in that team last year, too. The issue is that you guys don't play well with pace. And teams get the ball off the glass, and Joel Embiid's really slow. James Harden was really fat and slow. So, like, there was just no keeping up with teams when they got out in the break. And how did they fix that problem? They didn't fix it at all. They would have been better off signing guys like making a trade for Royce O'Neal and guys like that who would get up and down a little bit, younger legs, but they didn't do that. So, no, everybody else got better and they got worse. Them and Miami are the two teams that just stayed stagnant to me. I don't think Philly's any better off than they were before.
I do think the Deontay Melton, that trade.
Oh, that's nice.
I think that trade will help on some level in regards of championship contention. I don't see it for Philly. Like, they would have to be in hopes of some team getting some major injury. Because currently constructed how the East is set up, they're not even a top 4 team.
Yeah.
Going into next season, who do we see, though, as actual championship contenders?
There's a lot of them.
From east to west, who are championship contenders, we think?
Denver, Golden State. Who else right now? As of right now, the obviously Boston, obviously the Bucks too. Miami is obviously in the mix. There's a lot more than usual.
I think we got to throw Phoenix in there too.
Oh, of course, I forgot Phoenix. I mean, Phoenix is going to be in the conversation too, for sure. And depending on what the Lakers do, if the Lakers can get rid of your boy, get him up out of there and flip him for a guy like Buddy Hield, maybe a Miles Turner type, maybe they'll be back in the mix again. And those guys AD stays healthy and has a good year, and he could. Every year he plays well.
You said whose boy? Who on the screen?
He just happens to be on your team, so I guess he's your boy by default.
Miles, who's out of any other names? Any other teams come to your mind for championship contention that was not mentioned? And do you think, sidebar, like, do y'all think DeAndre Ayton finishes out the season in Phoenix? Or is this?
Yeah.
I don't think they're not going to trade KD.
I think they wanted to bring him back, just not at the number that he wanted. So, I mean, what Indiana signed him for was a lot less than what Phoenix could have given him. So, I mean, once that deal was signed, yeah, there was no issue. Yeah, I mean, Greg named most of the teams that I see competing for a chip. Like, I mean, Memphis, you'd like to see what they would do next year with a year of experience, getting deep in the playoffs and going against Golden State. Like, they're a team that can threaten. And, I mean, you wonder if Ja Morant doesn't get hurt, is that series any different than it was without him? But he's going to get better. He's going to come back better than last year. And, I mean, they drafted some nice pieces to go along with that too. So,
probably some dark horse teams we're not getting credit that could compete for a championship. If Brooklyn stayed together, maybe they do too. I mean, Kyrie would have to play basketball because he wants to get paid. That matters more than whatever the hell else he was doing out there, smoking incense and all that stuff. So I think that he'll want to actually come to work next year and play basketball. So if you had them both and he's motivated, Yeah, you could compete for a championship. Why not? That team's really good on paper. They're one of the best teams in the league. They certainly could. They certainly could be in the mix if they stayed pat. But again, I don't think that's going to end up happening. I think they're going to get traded at some point. I think it's going to surprise us all when it happens, and I think we're all going to be like we're not going to see it coming, but it's going to happen nonetheless. So nonetheless, Dallas could be a team that makes a run. I don't know. Like it depends on what they do. I think they're a team that can make a mid-season trade that can push them into a real playoff run. You know, I know they lost Jalen Brunson. They'll find a way to kind of replace it because with a guy like Luka, you don't need a bunch of superstars around him to kind of win. You just need really good players around him that can kind of do their own thing, and I think they can make that thing happen eventually. But you know, I think they could be a dark horse, and who else? I mean, even the Timberwolves are going to make a little bit of noise. Like they're not going to win a championship, but like they'll make noise. You'll hear them roar a little bit, the Wolves, throughout the year, and then they'll fizzle out.
Y'all think by any chance, before we transition to what Darvin Ham was talking about, do y'all think by any chance Christian Wood can really be number 2 to Luka in Dallas?
I mean, the good thing is he'll be healthy, relatively healthy, compared to KP, who, I mean, he's one of the most unreliable guys in the NBA. So I think what's so funny?
That Knicks fan gets so much joy out of saying that. I think it's so funny to me.
It's funny because it's true.
Yeah.
He's been that way since he came in the league. So
yeah, I just want everybody to be miserable because y'all are miserable too. I think it's funny. So
thought of, is this the last dance for y'all this year coming up?
Look at that. You see? That's what I'm saying. You see my point. He wants me to be miserable because he's miserable. So I'll bring everybody down with them into their nonsense. Still like the petty ex-girlfriend. You guys are Courtney.
That's gonna be a movie across the bridge this year. Steve Nash. They could do an Office like show with Brooklyn. That would be funny. That would be box office right there.
But what's going to happen in the playoffs either way?
True.
At least there's that. With
fists punching behind the scenes.
I don't think again, you're saying all this. I don't think those guys are gonna be back. I think they're both gone. I think they're both gonna be somewhere else. I think Kyrie was somewhere else. I think that KD will be somewhere else too. Those dominoes are gonna fall at some point in the summer.
Well, you got to do something at head coach because I mean Steve Nash is more worried.
That's not. I don't give a damn. If you're resetting, then I don't care about that because I'm not competing for a championship. So you can be here for another year, Steve. It's okay. I mean, I'm fine with that. Eventually, you'll see your way out. We'll figure it out.
True.
I'm not really worried about that at all. Make the right trade. That's all I care about. Give me a Scotty Barnes and something else, and we'll figure it out from there.
Speaking of coaches, Darvin Ham was on All the Smoke podcast talking about Russ, talking about AD, and he brought up Anthony Davis. When healthy, Anthony Davis is top 3, top 5 in the league. Is Anthony Davis has he ever been a top 3? I think we could have the argument for top 5, but has he ever, even at full strength of being healthy, which I don't think we've ever seen that, but when healthy for 40 out of the 82 games, has he ever been top 3 in the league?
I don't think so.
I thought so. I know exactly what he's referring to. I know exactly what stretch Darvin Ham's referring to when he says that.
You talking about the bubble year?
Huh?
You talking about the bubble year?
No, I'm not. There was a year into the Pelicans, and he was going crazy. I don't know the exact year.
Is it 20? Let me see if
there was a year
2016, 2017, 28 points, 11.8 rebounds, 1.5 steals, 2.6 blocks. Was it that year?
Yeah, like closing teams out, big games. I remember that year specifically thinking to myself, this guy's better than Kevin Durant. Like, if he could keep this going, he's better than Kevin Durant. Like, I'd rather have him than Kevin Durant. I remember specifically thinking that he had a run he was on where he was hitting game winners. The jump shot was falling. The 3-ball was falling. Like, he looked scary. And he was pulling out all the hezzy jump shot. It was crazy. Counters. Like, he was looking real scary a certain year. So, yeah, there's a time. If AD was right, if he was healthy, it's always just been about health. If he's healthy, He could be a guy who's top 3 in that competition every single year. Top 3, top 4, for sure. There's years where you'd rather have him than a Kawhi if he's right. And Kawhi was a top 4, top 5 guy in the NBA when he was going good. So, yeah, I know exactly what Darvinham's talking about. I totally agree. It's just a matter of he gets hurt so much that we can't have the conversation, and people get to kind of forget how good he is because he gets hurt a lot. So you don't get to talk about it. But nah, there was a time where he was top 3. I remember that. I remember that vividly. There was a stretch. You can find some clips too. Him just going crazy. I know Tony's the biggest Anthony Davis fan. I get it. But, bruh, there was a time where I thought he was top 3.
I looked at those stats, those years. That's how I was able to have it. Even on his peak years in New Orleans. That year, for example, that year he had Boogie. Boogie was getting busy with him too. Boogie ended up getting injured. They only went 34 and 48. And that's been my biggest knock on AD when they brought AD to LA. You're bringing AD to LA for after Bron life to still be able to be a franchise that's getting in the playoffs, possibly competing for championships. What he did in New Orleans doesn't give me any confidence that he can actually lead a team being the number 1 guy.
That's fair.
That's my biggest knock outside of him not being healthy. When he is healthy, though, he hasn't been able to lead a team to the playoffs being the number 1 player. And that's where my cause for concern from. So even that year, I put it down. I thought, that was a crazy year. He was like top 5 in MVP voting, top 5 in scoring, top 5 in rebounding, top 5 blocks, top 5 steals. I can't see any year where I had AD as top 3. Top 5, definitely. Bubble year, top 5. Top 3, probably over the last decade, you always talking about Bron, KD, Steph, Mike Mixon, Luka, now within the last 5-6 years. Never seen him as a top 3.
The league and teams are winning thing is a fair conversation to have. I also don't think there's many bigs in the NBA that lead teams are winning anymore because it's a perimeter-oriented game. So I'm not saying it's an excuse for him, but I'm saying that's just that's not the NBA way the NBA works. Chet Holmgren's not going to lead. No matter how good Chet Holmgren is, he's not leading you to he's not going to be the reason why you have 40+ wins. That's just not really how it works. It's a guard's game. But I get it though. I get what you're saying, and I think you can argue the opposite, and that's totally fine. I just think that when that guy's healthy, he is something else. I've never really seen anything quite like him when he's healthy. Never. Not a player that's skilled that big. It's scary. It's scary how good he can be when he's right. But again, there's a lot of hypotheticals because he's not usually right. So it's a fair thing in terms of it's a very fair thing. It's no one can look at you and say you're wrong. No, I'm not going to do that.
Hey, Mike, do you disagree in this regard? Because the other thing with AD for me, right? I think AD, as much as he can shoot, I think AD settles for that jumper. He falls in love with it way too much.
No, that's facts. I think when he's being aggressive and he's, most bigs can't stick with him. And, when he finally realizes that, then we'll see him back at that top 5 status. But with him shooting as much, you see him working with lethal shooters, so I guess we might see more jump shots coming up this season. But, you got to keep the defense honest. If you're just going to take jump shots that many times in a game, then it's not that hard to D.
Yeah, I think I need to see a mix because there's times where I watch Lakers game closely and they switch and it's me guarding AD and he shoots a jumper and I'll be screaming at the television. I know you don't like being in the paint. I know you don't want to bang that much. Your body is a slimmer frame. I get it. But in certain cases, if you don't get your big unibrow behind down there, and 9 times out of 10, and Greg noticed, him being 6'10", 6'11", 7 feet, whatever height you want to say, he don't even have to fade away. If he goes straight up more times than not, anybody that's a 3, 2, or a 1, even some 4s they're going to have to foul him. You go into the free throw line, and for his career, he shoots around 82% from the free throw line, which is for a big, great by all standards. Mix it up, bro. The hardest players to guard, the hardest players that you have to game plan for are the ones that you don't know what they're going to do. Nikola Jokic. He might give you 25 or he might give you 18 assists and 2 points and still win the game.
Yeah.
Jokic might be in the post this game. He might be shooting mid-ranges.
It's true.
That's why I think the hardest players to guard is the ones that mix it up. Going to next season, ending off the show. AD or who you want? AD or Giannis?
Giannis.
AD,
I'm asking the question.
AD or Luka?
Luka.
Yeah, Luka.
AD or Nikola Jokic?
Jokic.
Right now, Jokic. But I definitely watched AD destroy Jokic in a playoff series, and it wasn't that long ago. So I know that was the bubble championship. Everyone likes to call it. That was a championship run. I'm not gonna call it bubble because it counts, and it was incredibly impressive. But I think let's have this conversation again by the end of next season. I'll be able to give you a different answer because I think that AD gets the best of that guy.
Oh, we're gonna have the conversation at the All-Star break because all this talk of he's up at 2:00 in the morning. It better show up on the court. AD or Jason Tatum?
AD.
Yeah, I'm taking AD. I'll take AD.
I got 2 or 3 more for y'all. AD or Bam Adebayo?
AD.
AD or Paul George?
AD.
Last one. We're going to close it out. AD or Kawhi Leonard?
If he's healthy, I'm taking Kawhi.
If we're talking healthy, both of them, I'll take AD.
And if he's healthy, you taking Kawhi?
I'll take Kawhi.
I'm still taking Kawhi, yeah. I mean, he's a wing. He plays both ends. And he's clutch at the end of the game. So I'm going to take him.
It's fair. I guess the criticism you have of AD, I have of Kawhi, where Kawhi's just kind of been in, great situations, and he's won because he's been in great situations, and he's a great player. But if he played on New Orleans instead of AD all those years, they're going to do anything more than win 38 games? I don't know. I don't really know. Is he creating easy buckets for other guys on the floor? Is that what he is? He's the ultimate score and defend guy. And that's cool, but I don't know how that translates. How many wins that translates to when you're the source of the offense. And he hasn't been put in that position at any point in his career. Not really. Toronto wasn't even that. Toronto is a situation where you have such a great sum of parts that everyone chips in. It's great, and they all perform in the big moments. So, I'll take AD, man. Give me AD. Yeah, I'm taking him. I've seen AD be better than Kawhi. I've seen that too. So I'll take AD.
I think Kawhi healthy this year. With that Clippers team, they'll definitely be a team for contention.
We didn't mention them. Yeah, they're another contender. Yeah,
they'll
right.
definitely be a team for contender. And you already know, subscribe, like, share, rate us 5 stars. You already know the vibes. If you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. Bench Mob Ent, we out. Peace.